Hi guys, Bomber here. Welcome back to the channel, and today we're gonna play Legends of Runeterra. We are gonna showcase a deck, which is the Crimson Elusives. I think that right now it is the best deck to climb the ladder, especially since we got a reset recently, so let's jump into the deck review. So as the deck name or archetype suggests, the Crimson Elusives, we are gonna run a bunch of elusive units and also some Crimson cards, like for example the Crimson Disciple and um, the Imperial Demolitionist. So let's review the deck card by card, and if you want to skip directly to the gameplay, I will leave a timestamp into the comments, the pinned comment. So we run Elixir of Wrath because it is like a burn spell, like for example the Noxian Fervor, but it only costs 1 mana, and you don't have to deal damage to your own unit. Obviously, the drawback, because right now we only have benefits from this card. So what are the drawbacks compared to something like an Noxian Fervor or Get Excited from Piltover? It's obviously that you need to have your unit that you're buffing or follower to not be blocked. But we are very good at doing this because we have elusive units, so Elixir of Wrath most of the times gets that additional punch that can win you the game in or also in like the first turns when your opponent really doesn't have answers to your cards. You can right from the start push very huge damages, and so then your decimates and other burn spells can do the dirty job later on in the game. Then we have Navori Blade Scout. It is a very good one drop. It's like a better Precious Pet, but it does lose consistency the second turn that it's gonna attack, because it will not have any more elusive. But really, the same goes for Precious Pet. You just really need the first attack to get in, and so the elusive instead of the fearsome is much more elusive, as I would say. And so it's really a better Precious Pet. But then we also run Precious Pet because it is still a very good card to push the early on damage. So you are looking at this like you want to run 6 Precious Pet if possible, and Navori Blade Scout is better than Precious Pet. So yeah, those are the why of those cards. Then there is a Crimson Disciple, very good card to deal damage to, and then we will look a bit better at the combo later on when we take a look at Imperial Demolitionist. Then we have Green Glade Duo. It is probably the best, the key card to get really on aggression. It has elusive and gets buffed for every other allies that you play. So yeah, very aggressive card, and it's a must in every aggressive deck that runs Ionia, as we are doing, especially since we are into an elusive deck. Then we have Imperial Demolitionist, and this is really interesting because it also gives this deck like a combo factor in it. So it is aggro, very aggro burn especially, but this in combo with something like Navori Conspirator or Retreat or the Solitary Monk or even Will of Ionia, if you will, but it's very weak doing that on that. But yeah, this gives you a good target for all those cards that need to like return cards to your hand, especially Navori Conspirator. You want to play Navori Conspirator for the elusiveness, and it is a bit more healthy than the Green Glade Duo, and sometimes that matters. But then, since we are an aggro deck, we don't really want to lose mana by returning your cards into your hand. But you kind of want to do that with Imperial Demolitionist, especially if you have already a Crimson Disciple into the board, because that adds a huge amount of burn to your deck. So yeah, that is a very good target, as I said, for cards that make you recall allies, especially in Navori Conspirator. Then we have a Legend Grenadier. Again, every Noxus deck which is aggro probably run this card. It is very good. It is basically a Mystic Shot with an added body, if you want to use the Mystic Shot for the burn anyway. And if this gets only one attack in, it is basically a better Decimate for much than even lead less than half the cost. So yeah, very great card. Then we have an Navori Conspirator. Again, as I said, a very great combo with the Imperial Demolitionist if you have already a Crimson Disciple into the board. So yeah, very nice. But we only learn 2 of this card because, as I said, you don't want to return any other card than Imperial Demolitionist, probably. And so yeah, it is not worth it to play in 3 off. Then we have Retreat. Kinda, this card is arguable, but most of the times it is very good if your opponent is trying to remove some of your cards, then you retreat that and you can, like for example, most of the times you're gonna go Navori Blade Scout, then if your opponent is running Shadow Island, on the second turn he's gonna go Vile Feast on the Navori Blade Scout, probably, and so you can retreat that. So you make him not heal for 1 and also not spawn a 1/1. Very great move. And then the later turn, the next turn, you can play the recall, the return for 1 mana, and you can play a 3-drop, like for example the Solitary Monk on an empty board. And then you also have 2 more mana, which you can spend to play something like a Crimson Disciple or a Green Blade Duo. So yeah, very, very powerful move, and if that, it is obviously a dream, but if that happens, it's pretty much a good game for any control deck. Then we have Transfusion, again another activator for the Crimson Disciple one, in combo with the Imperial Demolitionist. So yeah, you want to damage this the Crimson Disciple to get the burn out of that. And also Transfusion is the buff aspect of this card is also very nice. So yeah, very good card. If you're running the Crimson Disciple plus Imperial Demolitionist package, Transfusion probably is a good fit in that. Also, you can buff elusive cards again, and so this is even like a sure to more damage in. So very, very nice. Noxian Fervor again for the final last burst damage. You want to play this when you're sure that you're gonna win, because you don't want to lose your minions or followers or units, I don't know what to call them, but yeah, you don't want to lose them until you're sure that you don't need them anymore, as long as you're sure that you're not gonna get any more damage from them. So yeah, so that could happen when you know that you can kill him, or when your opponent did manage to get a huge board, if he's a control deck, and your units are basically useless, and you can use them as champ blockers and then sacrifice them with Noxian Fervor to gain more turns when you need them, because you are actually on the defensive, but you can burn him out. Then we have Shadow Assassin, very good card, elusive, it draws you a card, very, very good body. It is a bit costly for this deck, but all the benefits, the body plus the draw 1 card, makes this card really good. Then we have Solitary Monk. Again, you especially want to play this card on an empty board, obviously, and if you do, then a 3 mana 4/3 with elusive, it's incredible, it's huge. Probably you can do something like you play the Shadow Assassin and then Solitary Monk for if you need draws, for example for a Decimate or whatever. But yeah, this is kind of fringe. Probably the most use out of this, as I said, is the Navori Blade Scout, and then you can Solitary Monk it, so that you gain the additional 2 more damages from the Navori Blade Scout since he gets elusive. Yeah, that is probably the most common way to use this card. Then we have Will of Ionia. You can use it for, as I said, very weak burn damage, for example from the Imperial Demolitionist, if you really need that. But most of the time it's just that when on turn 6 or 5 or so, your opponent plays his first bomb, you can Will of Ionia hit, and so you basically gain 1 more turn, or make your opponent lose 1 turn for the mana. And since we are an aggressive deck, 1 more turn is probably all we need. Then we have Decimate, pretty straightforward. It is the most burn that we have into the deck, and it is to finish the game off. So that's it for the deck, and let's jump into some matches to see how this deck plays out. Okay, so we are up against Freljord and Piltover and Town. I don't recall this deck, but it does run brown, so it's probably like experimenting with that, but we do get Crimson Disciple and Imperial Demolitionist, so that's very good. This is the combo, and if we get something like an Navori Conspirator, start this powerhouse of burn damage. No. Let's drop the Crimson Set first. Also, sometimes you want to play the Solitary Monk to heal the Crimson Disciple. That is also a fringe interaction you can accomplish. Second Tomahawk. We're still probably attacking.
I love a taste of the action.
Don't care about taking damage.
Is that all?
Heal the Crimson Disciple. Okay, so as I thought, we are up with a power deck, Brom.
Follow along, little
Also
ones.
that got a buff. Is it 2-3? I read that it was a...
I walk my path alone.
Now we heal the Crimson Disciple. Right now we just care about dealing burn damage and getting the elusive allies that we have in.
Trust me, they add up.
For damage. Then next turn we're gonna go Crimson Disciple into Imperial Demolitionist. Also, this is very nice that the Lonely Poro becomes a Jubilant Poro, but it doesn't really do anything. So now we go Crimson Disciple.
Oh, I can't wait.
Probably should have played around that.
If they don't
Now we
break,
don't get the full
they'll
damage.
burn.
At least we do 3.
Make the Empire proud.
Would you believe he once fit in my hand?
This is very good display by us. Now the one once can't really attack because we have a very good block with the Crimson Disciple. The other one we get 8 damage in, we can afford that.
Would you believe he once fit in my hand?
11 damage in, that seems to be a lot right now.
The Order rewards its faithful.
Ionia. You can probably return the 4-5.
Where
Really
they go
care if
off
he
to?
draws more. Yeah, you can because we have 3 mana. Forgot about it. Okay, we're probably gonna sacrifice the Imperial Demolitionist.
Your
Not
path
get
ends here.
damage. Or are we gonna trade the 4-5? Probably.
Routes
Seems
closed.
better.
Let's get a good look at you.
3 damage, we can afford that. We can also trade that with the Elixir of Wrath. Yeah, let's also probably do this. Another blocker. Tomahawk coming down. Another Imperial Demolitionist. So let's play the number Blade Scout.
Quietly.
It's be a nice body to sacrifice with an Oxygen Fervor, so that is probably gonna block with 1. Okay, for to take less damage. Okay, he's at 8, so we can finish this off. Off. Yeah, pretty weak Heart of Laughter. He only has Overwhelm. Okay, so Imperial Demolitionist.
Remember the objectives. the
then next
glory
turn
of
finish
Noxus.
this off with Noxus Fervor. You can always Will of Ionia that is a sick play. So we probably will open that, and since I'm already dying, let's Axiom Fervor this, and we will wait for the second Axiom Fervor to tap out. Plays something else.
Silence.
Let's just wait. Let's see what he does. Probably is gonna replay that. If he does, he's dead. Okay, Aurora Borealis. Okay. So the first match went well. Let's jump into the second one. So we are up against Eldrod and Shadow Islands with Anivia and Tryndamere. For what seems to be kind of a meme deck that some streamers that I saw played, and does have the I don't remember the name, but the 12 mana spell from Eldrod. So yeah, kind of a control deck. We should watch out for Withering Whale. But other than that, we do get the combo. We should probably also keep the Transfusion. We have the Crimson Disciple and the Solitary Monk can go now, since we don't want our Crimson Disciple. And the Ringray Duo is kind of weak in this matchup. Yes, Bad Beast and Withering Whale. So let's probably for the Crimson Disciple. Probably take the attack first. Okay, so let's get in. Could have
Let
gotten
me show
4.
you what I can do.
It's like poker, you can't really know what he gets. Could have the mana. Oh, sorry, the 1/1. The 1 mana, 1/1. Also 1/1. Catalyst Appearance. Probably start doing burn damage, or probably not. If we do take the open attack next turn, the general is better.
Coming in hot!
He's taking 7 damage. Huge.
Who's gonna get in my way?
Could have the Withering Whale. I'll buff that. I want to keep my cards for later.
I'll try anyone once. If they don't break, they'll burn.
They're already at 10. Yeah, we do have a
For the glory of
great
Noxus.
matchup against control decks. Probably do something like we buff the Crimson Disciple with the other, and then we Noxian Fervor that. That is something like 7 damage. Withering Whale, not the Ruination. It's even worse. Definitely Noxian Fervor something. Just wait.
company.
Says you.
Get 7, so we could probably have again Withering Whale. Don't know, should we go all in? Sacrifice the Navari Blade Scout is at 3, plus 3, 6, Transfusion 8. Yeah. But we could also have a life feast, so it's probably too risky. Let's play the Navari Blade Scout first. We don't risk needed. If he goes for the Withering Whale. It's true that he's safe if he has the Withering Whale. Life feast. So deal exactly 8 damage. We'll probably have the grasping of Undying.
Full speed ahead.
Yeah, we should take this risk. We are too low on resources. Let's see if he does have the grasping of the Undying. Yes. Wow. Yeah, okay, this seems like
Zern.
can only probably be saved by Solitary Monk or the Shadow Assassin, but yeah, Transfusion doesn't help. I wonder if we saved the...
I smell a fight!
Again, too much health. The more that I think about it, the more I'm sure that I should have transfusioned the Crimson, not the Legend Grenadier, because really against a control deck you just want to push the most aggression that you can early on, and you don't want to cards as I play. But yeah, let's try this again. So now we are playing against the Tempo Sejuani that we hate and love. And against this deck we probably need all the burn that we possibly can, and all the Elusives that we can also. Probably the Noxian Fervor can wait, but we should keep the Decimate for the last burn damage that we need. And Precious Pet is not the best, but it is still a 1-drop, and it's pretty bad to mulligan it away, especially if you don't get another one. We really can't compete about the board state, so we just need to push as much damage as we can. Let's probably also play the Griffin Duo, and
That's my resting face.
The attack, or the archer. Have that, it's nice. I think it's Cooling Strike. Okay. Let's go for it. The problem with this deck is that you can have too many spells in your hand. Crimson Disciple. Let's probably play that.
Let me show you what I can do.
Another.
Took the bait.
Let's probably have to run. Let's bait him to block, and we can transfer that. Do this. See if he falls for it. He doesn't, so probably a master player or Diamond that went down as this.
Ah! Behind you! A Yeti! Yetis? There's no such thing.
Let's see if he does attack.
It can't be.
Okay, we can retreat something. Chop off. Didn't attack. It's interesting. Secondary Monk. Also interesting.
My turn.
So I can probably still attack and bait him or something. Let's see how he reacts to it. He's still taking it. So probably he's thinking that we have 2 transfusions in hand. And we did get the 2 damage in.
I will unite the Freljord.
We should probably take it slow and just play a Decimate. Probably better off by blocking and sacrificing blocking. Yeah, again. But yeah, very threatening. Can't really play the solitary monk, so we just wait. Another transfusion. This is very nice because now we can actually block and kill something. Reckoning. Okay. The 4 or less power. Okay, so we can only save 1. So we should probably go for this food.
Look what you did.
Again. This actually leaves, and we can Noxian Fervor it 2 times, but we can also retreat something. But then we don't have the burst with the Noxian Fervor. Yeah, we should probably let them go.
The time is right. Strike now.
Since he stepped out, he can't really do anything. Okay, so we got a loss in the way, but really we did a misplay, really, with the Legendary Grenadier, I remember you. But other than that, this deck is definitely viable. Also, the main advantage of this deck is that it's really fast, and you can really get your wins or losses really fast, and it's very good for that reason to climb. So again, I'm pretty confident about my statement that this is the best deck to climb right now. And yeah, so that's it for this video. Hope you liked it and find it useful, and as always, see ya!